Hey everybody, in this tutorial we're going to talk about how to interpret the campaign keywords tab, which is what we're sitting on right now. So you've got your campaigns right here that are all sort of set up. You click on bonsai trees. We've got our sites set up here. We've got our two landers that we added in before when we were talking about how to add a lander. And then now we're going to skip comparables for right now, and we'll talk about that in the next one, but we're going to go right to the Keywords tab. Now the Keywords tab is a summary, when you're at this campaign level, of all of the keywords on all of the landers. So as you can see, it's got two landers in here, and these are the two that we added before from this landers page. And you can get to this information individually by clicking on the lander and going to the lander's keywords itself, but it's easier to go to this summary page where you can kind of see everything, and you can also sort things. So I mean, you can sort by the lander itself, you can sort by the search volumes, and everything else. So let's start by let's just go down the list and let's talk about everything. First you got the lander, then you've got the keyword obviously, then you've got the ranking. Well, since this is a site that's brand new, it's not ranking for anything, so there's no ranking showing up here. Now, there's two reasons why you can get this. One is because you're legitimately not ranking for anything, or two, sometimes it takes a while for the rank checker to catch up. As of right now, it doesn't check every single day. Probably in the future, sometime within the next couple months, I would guess that it will be at that level. But for right now, it checks every couple days. So if you've just added a bunch of keywords in there, just wait a couple days if you know that you're ranking for something, and it'll update. Next, you're going to look at search volumes. So search volumes, according to the Google keyword tool, you can sort by that, and you can see we've got a couple large search volume keywords in here, some average search volume, and then some low, and one that has none. So this is a keyword that Bonsai rakes that I was looking at. I looked at the page and I was trying to find something that looked like it could be a keyword that might have a low search volumes. So this one had none on it, but we'll talk about that in a second. So then, expected visits is a little bit confusing. It's based off of, it's a comparison to your actual visits. So your actual visits is pulled in from your Google Analytics. For this, we didn't have any Google Analytics installed, and since it's a new site, there's going to be 0 hits for everything. But this column is just the hits that you've received from each keyword over the past 30 days. So it's basically only what you see in your default view of your Google Analytics if you don't play around with the timeline at all. Now you can compare that to expected visits. So say that you were ranking number 1 for Bonsai tools. Now there's a certain percentage of hits on average that the number 1 is expected to receive. I forget exactly what it is. I think it's somewhere between 40 to 60%. But what we do is, well, we looked up a study or we've seen a couple different studies on this by different people who run thousands and thousands of keywords through rankings and on pay-per-click and things like that. And we basically took those numbers of what the average number 1 ranking receives in terms of actual click-through rates, and then the number 2 ranking, the number 5 ranking, etc., all the way down through, position 100. Which, by the way, after you drop off the first page, you go from number 10 to number 11. There's an extreme drop-off, and you start to expect almost no traffic. But for this case, say that we were ranking number 1, and we multiplied that by whatever number 1 is supposed to receive. Say it was somewhere around 40-50%. You'd be expecting the expected visits would say something like 400 or so visits, and then you can compare that to your actual visits, and you'll see whether you think that you're getting the right amount of traffic, and whether maybe you just achieved that ranking, so you didn't have an entire month up there, or it's just an interesting thing to be able to see whether the Google keyword tool is as accurate as you think it is too. So there's a lot of things you can infer, but it's just kind of a nice thing to be able to see what you expect versus what you actually received. Next, we're going to move on to the on-page score. So the on-page score is basically there's three things that you can have here. One, there's a 2.5. That means that the keyword bonsai tree appears in the actual title tag of the site. Now I don't have my title tag in the screen right now, but it says the right bonsai tools make all the difference. BonsaiDelivery.com, learn about bonsai trees. It's a really long title tag, but uh, but it contains the word bonsai tree as well as bonsai trees, which is why both of these are in there as a 2.5. So basically, by saying that it's in the title tag, we're assuming that you are focused on that keyword because you put it there. So obviously, your on-page SEO, you're really trying to rank for that keyword. So it gets a little bit of a boost in its target value. You can kind of just infer that by that being in the target, being in the title tag. Next, you go down to Bonsai Tools. Now for this page, Bonsai Tools has a 1. That means that the keyword Bonsai Tools appears somewhere on the page, or more specifically, the word bonsai and the word tools both appear on the page somewhere. They don't necessarily have to appear next to each other because sometimes there's just, it's a little bit too specific to request every single keyword be right next to each other. But we at least expect that every one of these words that you're trying to link build to is going to be somewhere on the page. Now if it's not, for instance on this right here, this keyword, best bonsai trees, we already know that bonsai and trees are on the page, they're in the title tag. So the word best must not be there because it has an on-page score of 0. So what's that saying is Link Emperor is going, okay, you don't have the word best in there anywhere, so I'm not going to build links until you add it in. And then if you go and you click on the on-page SEO tab, you can see right here, it's giving you a hint here too. It's saying page should contain best bonsai trees. So as you go down that, you can check off these little boxes of things that you're missing if you actually do want to be building links to that keyword. So now, that's your on-page score. And so the importance is, this is all building up towards a target value. The target value is the sum of a number of different metrics that we have in our algorithm, including where you're ranking, the search volume, as well as your on-page score. Those are 3 of the most major ones, but there are some others such as the keyword difficulty according to SEO Moz and some other things. So the on-page score is basically saying that if it's in the title tag, it gets a 2.5x multiplier in the target value from just having it be on the page, which is like an average. So you can see here, if you put these next to each other, or here, let's search by this. Now as you can see, this page, the home page, has the keyword bonsai tools in the text, but this inside page has the keyword bonsai tools in the title tag. So that means that the target value, even though this is the same keyword, so it's got the same difficulty, you're ranking the same, which is 0, and it's got the same search volume, but because this page has it in the title tag and this page doesn't, this gets a boost in the target value. So now the target value is basically the end number in terms of how many links are going to get built to which keyword and lander combinations. So Link Emperor thinks that your best opportunity out of all of these keywords is this keyword right here and this lander, because you've got it in your title tag, it's got a pretty good search volume, and it seems like a reasonable difficulty for you. So it's going to, by default, build twice as many links to this page as this one, and then it's going to build 7 times as many links to this as this one, or 6 and something, as many times links to this as to this one below it. So you might be asking yourself, why do these two not have a target value? Because they are much more valuable to rank for than these ones. Well, the reason is because Link Emperor has kind of like a newbie safe mechanism to protect people from putting crazy keywords in there that they're most likely not going to rank for unless they really put a concerted effort towards it. So we don't want to be wasting tons and tons of links on something that we don't think we're necessarily going to easily rank for, such as bonsai tree. We think it's probably more valuable to us to spread our links across multiple other long tail keywords, such as these guys, which are going to be an easy cleanup hit. You know, it's like bonsai tool, 91 hits. Alright, doesn't look too difficult. Bonsai tree delivery, 140 search volume. I mean, that's probably something that you could easily rank for, especially with a domain like bonsaidelivery.com. But anyway, so this is a good example of actually Or you might want to say, I have bonsaidelivery.com. I think I can really rank for bonsai tree delivery pretty easily. So maybe I'm going to bump that target value up to something like 10. Now you're saying, wow, you just changed that number. And that's what I was trying to show, is that manually, if you think that you want to rank for something that you're automatically not, putting a big amount of effort into by default from Link Emperor, then you can just adjust your target value. So you can say, okay, I want this one to be up with the other ones, and until I start ranking for it, I'm just going to keep blasting out some links towards it. Now you can do the same thing with this. If you really want to go after Bonsai Tree, then you can do it. I mean, Link Emperor lets you do it. But you've got to realize that in order to try and rank for something that's got 18,000 search volume, you're probably going to have to really be chopping away at that for a while. So you might want to put it up high, like you might want to put it up towards as high as something like 50, so that way you have a shot at it. Okay. Now along those same lines, if you want to, you can delete it and it goes back to what it was by default. So you don't have to worry about trying to remember target values or anything like that. It's all good. Now the final thing that I want to show you here is that this one at the bottom has a target value of 0 as well, and that's because the search volume is 0. So by default, Link Emperor just doesn't think it's worth going after. So even though it has an on-page score of 1, it's got a 0 search volume. So there's a lot of things that go into this target value, and we think it's actually pretty smart. And when you're managing hundreds or thousands of keywords, it's a really, really useful tool to have, because Link Emperor kind of does a lot of the thinking for you. But you want to realize that you may have to go through here and take a look at some of these things and make a few tweaks yourself, because you don't want to just necessarily trust everything in here. For instance, what if you want to rank for your own brand name or somebody else's name or something like that? If you want to do that, you're going to have to throw in some target values that are a little bit higher than average, because if Link Emperor doesn't see any search volume, it's going to automatically think you probably don't really care about ranking for that keyword. So if you have your own reasons, then throw it in there. So that's an introduction to the Keywords tab. I know it's a little confusing at first, but hopefully I explained things pretty well. If you're confused at all, just send us an email at info@linkemperor.com. Thanks.